we have come to a very important session of this two-day conference that is focusing on PSUs. We know that PSUs are the drivers of economic growth in this country, and one of the largest deployment which takes place in the government ecospace are in the PSUs in India. The theme of this session is challenges in adopting cloud and security in PSUs. And for that, we have digital transformation leaders with us present in this session. Let me welcome Mr. Vijay Devnath, General Manager, Infrastructure and Security, Center for Railway Information Systems. We welcome Mr. Vijay. Thank you so much for joining us. We are joined by Mr. Ajay Kumar Nema, General Manager IT, HECC India Limited. We welcome Mr. Nema. Thank you so much for joining us. We're also joined by Ravi Shekhar, Head Corporate IT, HLL India Limited. We welcome Mr. Ravi. Thank you so much for joining us. We're also joined by R.N. Patra, Chief Manager, Core India Limited. Thank you so much, Mr. Patra, for joining us. And we're also joined by Varsha Nirvabne, Deputy General Manager IT and DCICO, GAIL India Limited. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today. And we'll be joined by Dr. Yas, Chief Information Security Officer of Indian Oil shortly. So without taking much time, let us start the panel discussion. My first question to Mr. Vijay will be, uh, the central and state government PSUs can select the type of cloud, public or virtual, private or government community from the list of electronic and IT empaneled CSPs. What are the policies dictating the decisions of PSUs in this aspect? Your thoughts on that, Mr. Vijay?
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone, all my fellow panelists and the viewers, if there are live viewers. Uh, you talked about selection of cloud between government and private CSPs. First policy is that we have to go for our fellow PSUs if they are in this business. Like in railways, we have our Railtel Corporation, which is building a or already built a cloud system. Though it has yet to get the MATI approval for public hosting, but internally it is already hosting some of the railway systems, applications, and websites. On the outside of railways, we have to follow the standard list which is issued by Ministry of IT, that is MATI. There are some 11 or 12 approved CSPs, including all the big names and one or two not so big names also. And then between them, we have to select as per the standard T1 L1 system of selection, which is well known to my fellow panelists because they are all from government. Apart from that, it is also dictated on the technical side from the applications requirement. Sometimes our applications are requiring a particular kind of platform. Suppose it requires a Oracle platform, which is all in end-to-end Oracle-based application. So naturally, the Oracle Cloud will give us more technical and financial value. That way, we have to somewhat deviate from the set procedures, which we call proprietary article certificate and all that, the process in the government. But that is very, very specific, and in very, very rare cases that the higher ups agree to this kind of policy deviations. Otherwise, it is those same standard MATI approved CSPs and their services. Whatever we want, we can choose. Till now, we have mostly gone for IaaS, and in very few cases, I think PaaS also has been taken, that is platform. But SaaS hiring has been nil as of now, maybe because our applications are very, custom built kind. Thank you.
Right. I'll come back to Mr. Vijay Devnath. Let's have a perspective from HECC India Limited. Mr. Ajay Kumar Nima, what are your thoughts on this particular question on that? What are the policies that dictates the decisions of PSU in the aspect which Mr. Vijay has said? But I'll come to you with a different question. Uh, what are the various security challenges foreseen when the data of a PSU gets hosted on a cloud? There are some apprehensions are there. Uh, how does a PSU ensure that uh, maximum cloud utility is there? Your thoughts on that, Mr. Nima?
Sir, actually, we want to utilize. We have some restriction to use the private cloud. Though we are using, that is okay. But in my case, we used to government clouds mainly on the NIC or CDAC. So mainly security concern is their side. So we usually not think over that this how we can realize it. That's it.
But what about the cloud adoption rate in your PSU, Mr. Nima?
Though we develop the healthcare infrastructure for our clients, like these 5 new aims we are developing, so we usually recommended our clients to not go for the local servers because the basic infrastructure maintaining still is a 24/7 is a challenging job. So we recommended for the go for the cloud services. Well, in secured cloud is definitely and use for either governments. If they can afford the private cloud, then they go for the private cloud. This is our recommendation for our clients because our domain is some different kind of providing the complete healthcare infrastructure. Though we are providing other basic IT infrastructure for our healthcare infrastructure as well. So mainly not focus on this morely on security or concern. Just depend on the service provider or as per the procedures we follow for the maintain the security.
Right. I'll come back to you, Mr. Nima. Let's have a perspective from the GAIL India Limited. We have with us Varsha Nirvadne, Deputy General Manager IT and DCISO. Varsha ji, my question to you will be that each service offering like IaaS, a PaaS, or SaaS has its own security boundaries for the PSUs. How do the PSUs ensure that the privilege rights must be provided only to authorized persons? Your thoughts on that?
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon to all my fellow panelists. Well, when we think of migrating to cloud, the first and major concern is the data security. So yeah, of course, the privilege rights or the access rights to be provided to only to the authorized persons is the prime most factor. Besides whatever benefits that we derive from after moving to the cloud environment. So we all know, like everybody is, adopting to cloud computing, and there are various benefits to the business as well. And at the same time, it also poses a lot of security challenges to us. So mainly, in order to ensure that the only the authorized persons have the privileges, only the authorized persons have the requisite rights. Majorly for PSUs, or in fact, for that matter, everybody will, mainly we follow the two methods, for keeping data away from unauthorized users. So one would be the access control, and okay, so control is basically is typically identity based, which makes authentication of the user's identity an important issue in cloud computing. So in cloud computing, because there's a lack of physical control, direct physical control over the storage of information. Encryption is also one of the key way to ensure that the data is truly protected. So, and then in cloud computing, what happens is we have to ensure that the data is secured at various levels. So, data is secured while it is at rest, when it is in use, and when it is accessed. So at all levels, the access rights, privilege rights has to be ensured. So in cloud environment, the things get little complex, as compared to on-premise model. And even cloud environment is rife for some misconfigurations as well. One wrong configuration may lead to, affecting at multiple levels. So, for example, if we do some wrong configuration, the next moment nobody would need MFA. So that type of errors, is quite possible. So in cloud environment, especially PSUs, I think they will follow zero trust strategy. And that is also the recommendation of MITI, that we have to, follow zero trust strategy. And we can also adopt that identity and access management, cloud IAM, that they call, which provides a clean and consistent access control interface for all, for that matter, all cloud platforms. So then the other method that we can adopt is key management service, KMS, which creates and manage cryptographic keys and control the access access control a wide range of cloud services. So that's how we are looking to have the authorized access to our cloud infra or services. Thank you.
Right, ma'am. I'll come back to zero trust strategy. That's a very important point raised by Varshaji. Let's have a perspective from Coal India. Mr. Aryan Patra, Chief Manager from Coal India, has joined us. Mr. Patra, what kind of cloud adoption we can see in the Coal India?
Good afternoon, Sovik ji, and good afternoon to all my fellow eminent panelists. It's my privilege to be here in this forum. What Mr. Sovik ji asked me, what type of cloud platform we are adapting. We are adapting private cloud as well as government clouds. We are already in cloud. Most of our major applications is on cloud. We have adopted the private cloud as well as having interface to the public, as well as have a government cloud on NIC platform.
And what do you feel can be a challenge when you adopt to cloud, or does it make life simpler, Mr. Patra?
Whenever there is any transition from a legacy system to the clouds, all the challenges has to be taken as an opportunity. And if there is a clear-cut plan and you have taken the accountability of your business as well as the type of data to be transformed or to be moved to the cloud, so I don't think that there is any such major challenges when moving to cloud. Of course, nowadays in this digital technology, cloud have a better advantage, and now we are moving to a digital India, and MITI have given a lot of guidelines that we are following as a PSU. And cloud is better. What you told that it makes easier in a long way, but initially, depending upon the type of business of an organizations, you have to precisely select what type of services or what type of platforms must be moved into cloud.
Right. The migration from legacy to cloud migration can, if there are challenges, that can be seen as opportunity. Very important insight given by Mr. Patra. Let's have a perspective from Mr. Ravi Shekhar, Head Corporate IITHL in India. Mr. Ravi, my question to you will be that how has the on-demand services and the pay as you use model offered by Meghraj MITI makes it convenient for any government organization to adopt the virtualized network? Your thoughts on that? If you can unmute your mic, please. Mr. Ravi, if you can... Yeah,
Pardon?
now we can. Yeah.
We are just on behalf of Heights, we are basically into health infrastructure sector within government space. So we have just forayed about last 1.5 years back into the cloud. Earlier that we had an in-house center, and all we know why cloud has grown And why people are moving is because of inherent advantage. In fact, some of my earlier speakers also pointed out in terms of better advantage, flexibility, uptime. The thing is that we are using a combo of private as well as government cloud. Like Mr. Nima pointed out, we also are having an MOU with CDAC for hospital information system. So there is a software, it's on a SAS model. So we have gone to CDAC because the software is also with that. And we have done it on one or two instances of new games and it's working fine. By and large, it is working fine. We have not had any complaint. As far as we have 2-3 more applications, one is our NIC product, e-office, which we have adopted in totality across all our offices, and all our approvals and internal documents goes through. And I may say, because of this unfortunate instance of COVID, this has really become something which people had to adopt because of it, and now people hate to do other things, so they are hugely dependent on that. So in this particular case, we have gone for a private cloud, and our mode of selection was very, very clear. We wanted to check the basics. We went through various statutory or mandatory requirements like data center security, like ISO 27001. Then we had a line, and then we in fact also approached government like RailTel also, and some other government spaces also. But finally, we settled down with another private cloud, which was actually because we are mandated to do it T1 and L1 wise. It's not a question. And for last 1 year, it has been running very, very successful. In fact, during COVID time, because of a certain exigency case, we even permitted outside LAN, even to the extent of having it on mobile handsets. So we have again now reverted back within LAN and WAN, and for some select people, we have issued them the what you call as VPN connections. So my call is basically, I still feel we are learning very early. Okay, websites and all are small affairs which are there. What we try to insist and educate and make our users that you should do it from your secure devices, which are company devices. Do not use other devices, because somehow people, they tend to forget this. Okay, IT people concerns are different. And at the same time, we do go and inspect our data center once in 4-5 months. DR center is something which we have at another place with another company. It's not just a question that we have not kept all the eggs in one basket. As a part of our whatever we can think of, I'm not saying that we are the best to think of, but whatever. At the same time, I believe cloud security is a continuous evolving scenario. There are far too many providers which are propped up within the Indian space also. Time will settle it out. I'm quite sure, like what we had it initially in .coms also. It is strengthening. There are a lot of good players also. Apart from AWS and Google, like for our case of corporate email solution, we have gone for G Suite Premium. So that is perfectly fine. During the COVID days, you had all Google Meets. Earlier, there used to be an IT guy who used to go and fix up cameras for VCs. Now this is all done, and now we hardly get any requests to arrange a VC session. So these are some of the things which we feel that in the last 18 months, cloud has really helped not only IT, but it has helped the end user. And that is where we think it's something we have contributed 5% to that. The few things I would request, ma'am, she mentioned about zero trust. I would like to know, or other group would like to know.
I'll take what you said at last. At the end of the day, last 18 months or so, we have realized that cloud has not only helped the IT adapters or IT adoption, but also end of the day, the end user. That has been the basis of leveraging cloud for organizations, for others as well.
That is very important, because ultimately the users are not IT people. Now the key to usage is users. So we are continuously, we take extra efforts to I personally, even at a senior level, I pay more attention to senior people because other junior people cannot afford to go there and tell him I can take that risk, and I have that comfort level with the senior team. और नीचे वाले लोगों को भी वो बोलते हैं सर आए हैं तो बोल रहे हैं तो सुनना ही पड़ेगा. So and they hear, and the younger people, I'm talking about the younger generation, 25 between 25 to 35. They are we got to really do less of effort to actually pass him the concepts and things. They are more receptive because they are coming from an era where they had maybe possibly a computer since birth.
Right, right. I'll come to you, Mr. Ravi. Let us also welcome Dr. Yask, Chief Information Security Officer, Indian Oil. We welcome Dr. Yask. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, and a good day to everyone. I'm sorry for the delay, and there is some network issue that I'm facing today. So is my audio is audio okay right now?
IT, so we can understand. No issues with that, Dr. Yask. So, my question to you will be that there are a lot of PSUs are there who are using file systems to major data is computerized, but uh, not hosted on physical servers. However, it is also we have to look at the traditional data which is being converted to e-data, which will be hosted on the cloud network to access the same from anywhere at any time, right? How the PSUs are looking at the cloud network selection? Other speakers have touched upon that, but I want to have a perspective from you, Dr. Yask, on that.
Okay, so your question is regarding the selection of the cloud service provider. So there are a couple of things. One is,
Actually, you talk about moving physical files to the e-files, converting it to the e-files, and where do you host them, right?
I think a lot of organizations have already advanced in their journey in digitization. If the query or the question is pertaining to the physical files, whether the files are stored on the cloud environment or an on-prem IT environment, I think most of the organizations are quite advanced in that sphere. While choosing, and if the question is which CSP is to be chosen for keeping those files, there are quite a few selection criteria. I mean, I think the first one that any security professional would now have to, look at would be the compliance issue. All said and done, there is, I mean, and this has got less to do with security. I mean, you first thing that would come to your mind, or for that matter, any security professional's mind, is whether it is complying to the statutory requirements of the country or not. So if I have to look at the various providers, for example, I'm sure somebody would. I'm so sorry that I could not join in the beginning. So this Megraj impaneled CSP, there is a certain guideline that has been given. So all the organizations would necessarily have to follow the mandate that has been given. So it any which ways restricts the CSPs that are there that one can choose. And I think that's a very good thing also that has been done, that mandate to be followed. So that is point number one in choosing a CSP. The second one, I think then there are certain requirements, whether what kind of a disaster recovery things you are looking at. And I think, when we start looking at cloud, some of the things are not as important as they would be in a typical on-prem environment in which you're not talking about. For example, although in a typical CSP selection, you would look at whether the CSPs or the cloud this data centers are in different seismic zones or not. So I'm just giving you a broader perspective as to what all things would be looked into, apart from the technical capabilities or the technical solutions that the CSPs are offering. This is from a purely DC point of view. So whether they are in the different seismic zones or not, and all of that is dependent on the kind of data that you are wanting to host. I think this would be the starting points, and then obviously comes the objective of the requirement of the data that you are wanting to host onto the cloud. Those would become important in terms of selecting the CSP. I hope this answers what you were.
Right. I'll come back to
asking.
Dr. Yask. Yeah, it does answer my query. Let's have a perspective from Mr. Vijay Devnath from Center for Railway Information Systems. Uh, we talked about the cloud and various aspects of using cloud in PSUs. In terms of security, we are talking about huge data being generated every day and processing that data, storing that data, managing that data. Uh, where do you see the future is going ahead in terms of securing those data in the PSU framework? What kind of challenges you see and what kind of opportunities do you see in terms of new innovation? Mr. Devnath, your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Welcome, Mr. Dr. Yas. Uh, Glad to see you again in another session. Uh,
Same here,
yeah,
sir.
as we said earlier, that there are certain standards or limitations put on the government organizations in terms of accessing clouds in the private CSP space. Our view in railways earlier had been that everything in house was better. It was under better control, better secure, etc., etc. But that perception is now changing with increasing number of breaches taking place, and the kind of meager manpower and funding available to the IT security domain within the organization. It is very difficult to keep step with the kind of threats which are emerging. And the threat landscape does not distinguish between a government client, and a private sector client. So, in that aspect, I find that the cloud is a leveler, because the CSP maintains the same level of security whether the client is a government client or it is a private client. So they give X amount of services or X amount of security or X level of security for every client who wants it. But added to that is the CSP's demand is that everything has a price. Nothing comes free. So the government organization face a uphill task in specifying what they want out of the security. Whether they want the storage to be secure separately, and the application security will do, or they want two applications from the same organization to be firewalled in between them also while sharing data. So there are a lot of granularity in kind of security which we want. But going forward, I feel that the cloud is the way to go. Meghraj, though it has not been able to provide services to other larger ministries like railways and all, they have refused for lack of space and lack of resources. So we had to go to private CSPs. But ultimately, a cloud security model, whether it is with the private CSP or whether it is done in the private cloud, if it is done in the same model which the a commercial CSP follows for all its clients, it is a better way, and it is the way to go. Even within our railway applications, we have some 28, 29 large separate applications, and many more small applications. We find that they have different security requirements, and they have to be catered in a separate manner. Somebody wants the end-to-end security because they want to go to internet, and they are large presence on the internet, whereas some of the applications have the users only in the within the railway HR community, where the risks are different and the data privacy and security concerns are different. But cloud security models which are evolving now, they are the way to go. And we will like to have the same model, whether it is on private CSP or whether it is on government CSPs or even in the private cloud itself.
Right, right. The cloud securities which are coming, that is the way to go, that is the future. Let's have a perspective from Varsha Nivamne from GAIL. Ma'am, your thoughts on that? Where do you see future moving?
Um, well, we know, I mean, future is definitely moving towards cloud. And in fact, with this pandemic situation, the process is only accelerated. So, as Devnas ji has very, categorically pointed out, there are security issues, there are security challenges that particularly PSUs, foresee. So for us, in fact, it comes in the MITI guideline also. For us, the major concern or the prime concern we can say is probably the location of data is also one factor, critical for us, because the dynamic nature of cloud, may result in some kind of uncertainty as to where the data is actually residing. So in fact, the CSPs has to be very transparent as to, the location of their data center. Now that MITI has given this Meghraj policy, and in fact, they have given a complete framework. They have come up with a complete ecosystem, wherein they have categorized all the players, the cloud consumers, cloud service providers. Then there would be some cloud auditors community. There will be center of excellence, and a team or a GI cloud at the national level, and then state level clouds and data centers. So guidelines and the framework is to an extent, is a guiding way for the PSUs also. But yes, the security challenges that are associated with it is always there, and we have to, in fact, try and try all possible ways to mitigate all those challenges or risks. One security challenge that we face is also something like data disposal. You see, now what happens is when the cloud service providers, give us that SLA of high availability of data. Now, what happens is the CSPs, achieve this by keeping multiple copies of the data. So sometimes what happens is this cloud customers may require, the data to be deleted. So in that case, we will have to mandate media sanitization techniques also, that the data has to be disposed of if at all there is some exit, plan. So all those concerns are also there when we are, because our data is sensitive data, critical data. So yeah, data, location of data, disposal of data is also a challenge for us.
Right, right. I'm sure the August gathering who are present here who is watching this event, they will all like to connect with all of you beyond this event, because a very important point raised by all of you, especially what Varshaji has now said about the data disposal, which is a challenge for PSUs. Let's have a perspective from Mr. Ravi Shekhar. Mr. Ravi, where do you see the future going in terms of cloud and security? How do we manage this too?
I think what other speakers have said, we are already into cloud era, and it has to move further on to that. I think all of us, 6, 7, 8 people who are here, they're all organizations with cloud. So that I can say it's 100% right. Now, few of the things even like we have SAP, our mainframe applications. So that is still in-house. I'm quite sure that other enterprise softwares are still being held in-house in many companies. So that now we are also considering to go to HANA and their cloud. Because ultimately in-house, what we have discussed, we are finding it really difficult in terms to the people who are, I mean, the people do not stick too much with PSU salaries in IT domain, number one. And so cloud is the answer to that. It's inevitable. It has already arrived. There are a couple of things which I think Mr. Vijay mentioned. I really agree with him. The cloud is leveler, whether it is government cloud or private cloud. The boundary conditions has to be seen, checked in terms of various compliances, their behavior at times. I mean, what we generally do, we are in constant touch with our cloud service provider, and we keep them on the toes. Nothing to be taken as granted. Because I personally, being an IT professional, what I can see is maybe some distance. But as far as internet goes and the cloud world goes, I mean, even the best of the people, I don't know how far they can actually, they can't see end to end. So there is always going to be remaining an area or a percentage of suspense, or you call it a kind of a black hole kind of a thing, unknown thing. But we need to, what we say that what practices, what we have put in place is, I mean, that what I call it basics, like we must have everything secured. Our users have to use it outside with VPN. Only our devices, which are company devices, it has to be logged in, even clubbing it with a MAC address, so that it, because other, say for an example, I had a lot of resistance when I withdrew access of e-office from outside LAN and especially to the smartphones. And it took quite a very hard convincing to the CEO. I said, sir, in mobile phone, you have n number of software, so many things unverified. So, I mean, finally I succeeded. I said, I mean, for a small amount of sacrifice, we need to have a better secure system. And I think that's a wise decision for any corporation. Okay, we are in an era now, in an IT era, where even every user is obsessed with convenience. Yes, these things are made for convenience, fast working, but at the same time, it would be prudent, in my opinion, to give up a little bit of convenience at times for larger security and gain. So, as he also mentioned, cloud is a great leveler. I don't really differentiate much between government cloud and machines are the same, systems around, boundary conditions remain the same. And I think this is what I think everybody has covered, and I think we are in unison thoughts of that. That's what I can have to share.
Right. Let's have a perspective from Mr. R.N. Patra from Coal India. Your thoughts on this, Mr. Patra?
Yes, what Madam and Mr. Vijay and Mr. Ravi Shekhar told, the next decade is the future of the cloud. What we are in the 2018, and there's a tremendous change in 2021, and it is going to be a very big change in 2022. When we move to the cloud, data is the very precise things, or it is very sensitive for an organization. Initially, for security of the data, we have to segregate what the informations are very sensitive and critical in nature, and what the informations are less critical and less sensitive in nature. Based on that, security has to be applied. And security is not a one-time process; it is a continuous process. Once you are implementing any security process, that has to be regularly analyzed and updated. And in case of data, I think data in transit, data in rest, and also the access from the user end. This security has to be very stringent. The user access to the data, when user log into it, your cloud system, they become treated as a legitimate user. So in that case, the user end also that should be properly secure. And in case of organizations or government organizations or PSUs, if you have huge data, then data cleaning, data backup, and also data duplication and integrity of data are the major concerns that has to be taken care of when we are moving to the cloud. So when we are moving to any private cloud or a government cloud, that portion has to be taken care, and continuous evaluation, analysis and implementation of security as per the new trends, as per the government policy, and as per the basic guidelines given in the Nagras policy, that has to be implemented very seriously and also very precisely.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Patra. Let's have a
Thank you.
perspective from Mr. Ajay Kumar Nima from HCCC India Limited. Nimaji, where do you see the future of cloud adoption for PSUs going? And especially with the new normal, the emerging technologies, where do you see cloud and PSUs going together in future?
Yeah. I agree with future of this cloud-based services, cloud-based application. But particularly in healthcare, I am facing the challenges that medical professionals are still not uh, uh, give the weightage for this importance of the cloud. Still, they want to make their own data center. Like we have made AIMS New Delhi for a good data center and their disaster recovery in the National Cancer Institute, Jhajjar. So now that's one challenge is also in our healthcare for this patient data and digital healthcare, that we also use the PAC system, picture archival and communication system, where the films are storage. So large storage is also there, and their access is also required for the different doctors in different places. So they want to their local servers, local data centers. Still, they have. They don't. I really, it's a very my challenge to they agree for their cloud-based services, use their cloud-based services, because these services can be utilized by the doctors, use the mobile services by the patients, and all over India, all over world, they can utilize. If doctor goes somewhere, they want to provide their services, they can use the cloud services rather than their local server-based services. So still, it is a challenging now. Slowly, they are converting. They are understanding the utilization of the cloud-based services. So that is our challenge in our digital healthcare. Which, but nowadays, as already Prime Minister announced this digital healthcare and all these telehealth services, so we need the definitely cloud-based services in future.
Right. So the challenge of that mindset is there, and
Yeah,
need to
mindset
work.
is really
I
difficult.
think we have to overcome that. But as you have seen in last 1.5 year, a lot of legacy things have been washed away just like that with the
Yeah.
advent of the with the emergence of the new world order during the pandemic, and a lot of things which was never heard of that we can do in 10 years or 15 years was done in span of weeks and months. So I think that mind shift can be there soon. Let's have a perspective from Dr. Yask from Indian Oil Corporation. Before we wrap up the session, Dr. Yask, will I be wrong if I say that it pays for public sector entities to shift to hybrid cloud? If I want to end this panel discussion with this statement, what will be your perspective on that?
So the question is that whether hybrid cloud is to be adopted. Is that what you're asking, or
I'm
that is
saying
the
whether
more?
the hybrid cloud is beneficial for public sector undertakings in India.
See, I think that's. I mean, I would not counter that. See, the point is that cloud should not be the objective. I mean, you had asked the earlier question to the other panelists, the future and all that. See, I think cloud is just a means. It should not be the end. The objective is not to be on the cloud. The objective should be clearly defined. Whether it is hybrid, multi-cloud, there are certain requirements based on which I would start my journey. For example, if I say that I want to get onto the cloud, but however I need a private cloud, I need everything segregated. Essentially, what I'm doing is just hiring a space from a CSP. Rest of the things is exclusively to me. So does that really meet the objective? Is that what the idea was? Whether it is for the PSUs or any other organization, it is absolutely important for the organization to understand as to what the requirement is. Pandemic is once in a century thing. Yes, a lot of companies did shift to or thought about cloud, but then it was more of a pell-mell kind of a shift in which some of the cautions were thrown to the wind, and some of the aspects are not really looked into. While it is important to understand that cloud offers flexibility, speed, agility, and all that, but that should be the objective for which one should move to the cloud. It shouldn't be, this is not an innovation that is something new and everybody has to jump onto that. That is point number one. Two, I think it has been rightly pointed out that there are certain regulations which govern the government entities, PSUs included. Data residency is something that, and in fact, I said earlier also that statutory requirements and compliances are something that one has to look at very carefully. Uh, I think hybrid is the model to look at, and not just hybrid, a multi-cloud also, because as was again pointed out, that data portability or resiliency is becoming very important. I need to ensure that it is going to remain within geographical boundary. So I think again, the point is not whether it has to be hybrid. I think the point is that if I am looking at agility, if I am looking at the speed in which I'm going to deploy my applications. End of the day, it is all about the application that you are wanting to deploy, the data that you want to store. I think considering all these things, yes, certainly cloud does offer a favorable proposition. I mean, in terms of but just one more point. Cloud is expensive. Let's not rule that out. If we are talking about it might appear to be cheap initially, but in the long run, because expertise on the cloud is not something that we haven't. You touched upon the security on the cloud. Now, security on cloud is not something that you can really, just a traditional typical on-prem security model cannot be just straight away applied to cloud security. Therefore, the expertise on that, the security, so many other things. I mean, it's a long question. In fact, long answer. Sorry. So, lot many things have to go into the decision before one thinks about whether it is hybrid, multi. But yes, to summarize or to answer it one line, I think hybrid and multi-cloud is something that the organizations should necessarily look at while thinking of adopting cloud.
Right, right. Thank you so much. Very pertinent points raised by Dr. Yask, that we first have to understand why to use cloud and whether to use cloud or not. And because end of the day, our target should be very clear what we want to achieve. And maybe who knows that 10 years down the line, we'll have some alternative to cloud. You never know. That's how fast technology changes. But cloud is a reality today. Cloud will be also the future for some years to stay. But as you have said, there are apprehensions, there's challenges and opportunities. But as someone was saying, that end of the day we can see all the challenges and opportunities to transform the organization. End of the day, that should be our end motto. On this note, I end this session. Thank you so much, Mr. Vijay Devnath, Ajay Kumar Nima, Dr. Yas,
Thank
Ravi
you.
Shekhar, Varsha Nirvabne, and Arun Patra for joining us today for this very insightful, exciting session on the challenges and opportunities of using cloud and also security aspect for PSUs. And with this, we have come to the end of this session. Do join us for the next session at 5 p.m. today. That session will be on dark web and cryptocurrencies, cybersecurity challenges for business and law enforcement, in which will be joined by Mr. Vijay Singh, ADG Maharashtra Police, Manoj Srivastav, Chief Information Security Officer, Future General India Insurance, Advocate Khushbu Jain from Supreme Court of India, Shashank Bajpayee, CISO, Export Credit Guarantee Corporation of India Limited, with Mathan Babu Kaslingam, CISO, Vodafone India Limited, Abhijit Das Gupta from Manpower Group, and Jayant Mishra, who is a consultant with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime.